Hello, everybody. We are so excited for the first Totally Talking 80s book club meeting one. We're going to be discussing books 1 through 5, but we thought we'd just start with how we discovered the Babysitters Club. And I think that I picked up number 7 at a Scholastic book fair.
Sounds very 80s, yes.
And then I was like, what is this madness? How about you?
Oh, it was gifted to me. My father used to travel, and he brought back a box set of books. 23, 24, 25, and no. Dawn on the Coast, Kristy and the Mother's Day Surprise, and Marianne Missing Tigger. Marianne and the Search for Tigger. So my first book was Dawn on the Coast.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. If you're in the chat, did you read these as a child? Mm-hmm. And how did you discover them? You know what? I think Scholastic really formed my youth in general.
1,000%.
You know, I used to save, and it would be like you would come home with the best things, but also just the most oddball. Like, I found a lot of things through Scholastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, we would love to know how you came about, and then we'll get into each book. We're going to be discussing 5 books a month. So next month will be 6 through 11, which will be on Sarah's channel last Thursday.
6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, 6 through 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. And Sarah's channel, 7 p.m. the last Thursday of next month. The only thing that I need to look at, and we can discuss it later, but in April, the last Thursday of the month is Malice, because Malice is always the last weekend.
Maybe we'll go the week before.
We'll go the week before, but
you guys will know well in advance.
We'll do that behind scenes and let y'all know. Mary Jo said, wish I could make the live, but I have things to do. I love the Babysitters Club. We'll watch later. Thanks, Mary Jo. Totally understand. Yes. Busy. I get it. Thank you so much, Mary Jo. So don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Hi, Amy. She says, hello, everyone. Roxy says, hello, everyone. I know Roxy's a fan of the Babysitters Club. Roxy said, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Tiffany and Sarah if you're not already. Thanks, Roxy. Mm-hmm. Roxy has a great channel as well. Great Louisiana accent. And if you just want someone who is totally authentically themselves without with total confidence, check out Roxy. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. Amy's saying hi to Roxy. Doing good. How you doing? People saying good. Hey, Raina. She says, hey, y'all. And then Kev says, shh, don't mind me. I'm quietly crashing your party because I've never read the Babysitters Club. We will allow.
Yes, allow.
They are super easy reads, but you can totally just crash the party too. Mm-hmm. I'd also like to know, Sarah and I have kind of talked, but just through some of the bigger name stuff, but it'll be forever before we finish the Babysitters Club, right? But what other series do you think are nostalgic to you from your time growing up that you would like to see or that you just loved? I know we've talked a lot about.
Take a bonus month one month and just say, let's read a couple Sweet Valley High instead to break it up, you know?
Absolutely. We could have 1 week a month where we just did a spastic 80s or something like that. Or,
right. Saddle Club or, oh my God, there's so many of them. You love the sleepover stories.
The sleepover friends. I liked those. I liked the girl talk books. Do you guys remember those?
I remember the girl. I remember the girl with the black spiky hair. I always thought that was so oh my goodness, you know?
Really liked the girl talk. Saddle Club.
The Fabulous Five.
Yes.
Yep.
Of course, Nancy Drew. I liked Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys crossover the most. Mm-hmm. But I didn't read. Which Nancy Drew version did you read?
The 1980s Nancy Drew.
Me too.
The Case Files.
Yep. Me too.
Yep.
Me too. Jess said, hello, friends. I truly don't even remember how I discovered the Babysitters Club. I wish I did. That's okay.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
okay. Mine was easy because most of my obsession was Scholastic. Like I looked forward to the Scholastic book fair every year.
Yep.
And yeah, I've probably like a lot of us, was always been an avid reader. And I grew up in a very small town that's library was unfortunately very lacking. And so once like every 2 weeks, probably payday. Now that I'm an adult, I probably
Right,
paid.
exactly. Yep.
They would take us to Walden Books, or they would take me to Walden Books. Do you remember Walden Books?
We didn't have them up here, but I remember visiting them in the States.
Yeah, so they were like the original bookstore, but they were in the mall, so they were pretty small.
Yes.
But yeah, and they would, let me get books. But man, a lot of my discoveries came from the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah, mine. We had Kohl's was our version of Walden Books.
Okay.
We still actually have a couple of them around, but they're sporadic. But they are still in the mall. These small little. But what I remember in our mall when I was young is there was an independent bookseller, which you don't see those anymore anywhere. But he had a great little bookstore, and every month I would come in and buy the new Babysitters Club book. And to the point where he used to keep them behind the counter for me. Like the new stock would come in and he would put one aside for me. Like you wouldn't get that now at your big box bookstore, right?
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, here to smack the like and support my peeps. I have read a few, but not as a child. Thanks, Storm. I hope you're feeling better, Storm. How are you doing?
Yes.
Scholastic Book Fair. Look at that.
There you go.
Cajun said, just here to be here. They were after my time. Gotcha. Well, thank you for still joining us. Yes, absolutely. So we'll hop into a few questions. So the first book was Kristy's Big Idea. So you read Dawn on the Coast, and then did you hop back to one?
I read those first 3 in that box set and then realized, oh my gosh, there's so many more of these, and went to my library, and I'm almost certain I completely read the series out of order because I would read what I could get my hands on probably up until about the midway point in the series. Then when that gentleman started putting the books aside, then they became I'm going to read these every month. But reading the ones that had already been published was whatever I could get my little hands on.
Yeah. I read them mostly in order. Like I said, I picked up at number 7. So I did read them mostly in order. But when I probably stopped reading the series before it was over because I was kind of growing in age out of them.
Yes.
And so when I finished the series, it was like I want to go back, and I love those so much. I got to go back and finish them sort of thing. And then I don't know that I read them all in order, but I was like, wow, there's so many more of them that come out after. I don't remember kind of when I stopped, but I just kind of aged out of the reading, level.
I aged out around book 60 or 70, sometime around the point where Stacy leaves the Babysitters Club again, like briefly, like she's still in Stoneybrook, but something happens and she ends up leaving. And I kind of aged out and stopped reading them as much as I was. And then I happened in a bookstore one time and I noticed they had book 100. Yeah. And I went, oh my gosh. And I bought it and read it strictly just for the nostalgia that they got to book 100.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I don't think I honestly have read any books past book 100. I don't think I have. So my reading of them now, these are going to be firsts for me.
That's so awesome.
I think so. I'm almost certain. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So for those of you, like I know Cajun and a couple other people mentioned that, this wasn't in your age group. What were your series?
Mm-hmm. Or what were you reading in the 80s?
or your growing up years, your formative middle school years. I know, this might have been a little young, but I remember my mom had the Bobbsey twins. Like she had left over that like she kept, and she had Bobbsey twins, but I think those are probably younger than, and she had, the people talk about her all the time. Trixie
Belden.
That one. Mm-hmm. And there was probably some other ones too, but those are the 2 I really remember that were series that
and the Yellow Spy Nancy Drew.
Yeah, well, yes. I
The
mean, I
hardcover
feel like
Nancy Drew.
that's one that is very
Ageless
across the
almost.
board.
Yeah, it's ageless almost.
Yeah. So book one, Kristy's great idea. We have some questions. So some of them, we kind of formulated them through looking online at discussion and stuff like that. So some of them are more like not trivia, but questions about the books as opposed to like the other. So like the first one says, what was the problem that inspires Kristy to create the Babysitter Club? What does that show about her personality? More for me, the second part, like the personality part. So before we answer that, thinking about that question, who is your favorite character? I know yours is Dawn because you started with Dawn.
Yeah.
Personality wise, is it still Dawn or do you have a different
personality wise? Now that I'm rereading my way through the series, I'm really finding I'm identifying a lot more with Stacy. Mainly because of the whole health thing. Like I totally get where she's coming from, being, like your parents kind of like hovering over you and I'm sick of doctors and blah, blah, blah. But even just like her clothing and her ideas and her, like definitely I think more Stacy than anything else.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess my favorite was probably Claudia, but I don't really like feel like I see myself in any of them.
Yes,
I was not shy like Marianne. Like, shocking.
No,
yeah. Shy. And not really Stacy. And I understand the health thing, but like her New York, in fact, like that's not really me. Claudia isn't really even me. I just would want to be Claudia with the art and the creativity and the, I just
yes.
And Kristy's got a really strong personality. They were talking about what does it show about her personality. She's definitely got a very strong-willed personality.
That's
sometimes
right.
to her detriment, sometimes to her advantage.
Yes.
Who is your least favorite, or do you have a least favorite?
Oh, I'm gonna get like Mallory and Jesse, to be honest, just because I'm like, they're 11, man. And I think now as an adult, I'm like, they're 11. Why are they, like, I just think to myself, why are you allowing them to baby, as a kid, it was like, oh, that's cool. But now as an adult, I'm like, and I guess I just didn't identify at all with them because by the time I was reading them in the series, I was so much older anyway, right? But yeah, if I had to pick a least favorite, unfortunately, probably Mallory / Jesse. Just because of the age thing. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, if it was just like the main girls, because I agree with the age, it was hard because they did come in so much younger because I as well, by the time they came around, was older. But if I'm just looking at, I would definitely say Kristy just because she has that bossy kind of, but my real least favorite character, and we've talked about this, is Karen.
Oh God.
If you don't know, so the main girls, Kristy is your president of the club. She kind of formed the club. It was her idea, Kristy's great idea, hence book one. And then Claudia is the vice president of the club because she has her own. They all have. Well, they don't all have them. She has her own room, but she has a phone line in her room, so it was easy for them to use her house so that she had calls that could come directly to her own phone line. So she was vice president, and Marianne was the secretary. She kept all the records. She's very quiet. Kind of really fit her personality. And then there's Stacy, who was a treasurer, good with money, all these things.
All those things,
They added Dawn in book 5. And well, I guess at the very end of 4.
The very tail end of 4, yeah.
The very, very end of 4, they add Dawn, and then she becomes an alternate. So she can step into like any position if that position is unavailable. Right. Well, Kristy's mom is going to remarry, and the man she's going to remarry is Watson, and his daughter is Karen. He also has a son, but his daughter is my least character. Oh my gosh.
She is. I have to say, though, she is truly a character. Like, they did a good job with her, making her such a big personality, but she is too much. Like, I know we're not on, but even just, like, the first 5 books, anytime Karen appears, I just want to roll my eyes. And whoever, I have to look, I think it's Brittany Presley, who does the narration for the Kristy books for Audible, does a beautiful job of Karen that I want to strangle her anytime she speaks. Like, she just has the most annoyingly childish voice for Karen. It's bang on perfect, I have to say.
She is, and if like so they had a Babysitter's Little Sister, is that what they were called?
Oh,
I didn't ever read
Little
those.
Sister series. Yep.
I was way too old for those, but I think
Same.
it's just Babysitter's Little Sister. I know it's Little Sister, but I couldn't. Anyways, Karen is very much part of that, which is another reason that I would never pick it up.
And I mean, this spun off so much stuff.
Yeah.
That series had a ton of books, and then there was also the Kids in Mrs. Coleman's Class, which was a spin-off of that series.
I just never had it, like, you know, my love for the Babysitters Club is really the nostalgia of that feeling of reading it when I was, and I just don't think I'd get that from Little Sister. And
I agree.
That and then Karen, I just can't take.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you that read it, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite character? Do you have a least favorite character?
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah, number 2, this question's for you. It says, how does each founding member bring something different to the group?
Well, I mean, Kristy brings the idea, hence the title of the first book. You know, I really think that it was so, like, it's just, their personalities worked out so perfectly in the series. Like, you know, Claudia had the room, like, she had the space that they could hold these meetings, her own phone line, which was, and I remember them stating very specifically in the book that she was also listed in the telephone book under Kiki C, you know, like, Marianne had the good handwriting and could keep notes, and just surprisingly, Stacy was good at math. But even beyond that, like, they were all like good babysitters and had good personalities. And what I liked at the beginning in those first 5 books and even first 10 books is that they were friends, but they weren't friends. They hadn't hit that point yet. It was a very organic way of them growing a friendship. They were still very much a team of 2, Kristy and Marianne and Claudia and Stacy. You know what I mean? Like, I like that a lot. But their friendship, I think their friendship was the big cement for me beyond everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they definitely complement each other well in terms of their personality. You know, because if you had everybody with any one of their personalities, it would be a disaster. Let's see. Amy said, same, Scholastic, because my mom, I love that. My mom was the elementary librarian. I'm so jealous. That is awesome.
That is very cool.
Scholastic for the win, I'm telling you.
Right? They knew what they were doing, man.
Oh. Yeah. And do you remember did you have Scholastic in Canada?
Yes, we did. We got the book fairs. Yep.
And you got the little like magazine thing that we give out like a couple days before?
I remember walking into class one day and seeing them sitting on the corner and just going, oh, and I immediately wanted to, but I'm like, must wait until and I had to sit there, and I just remember staring at them until she handed them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And so like you had, you know, like it was almost like you mapped it all out. Like,
it was like the Sears wish book for nerds. Like,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. It really was like the Christmas catalog, like
and you could always tell who were the readers, because like some of the kids could have cared less, but the rest of us were like pens out or pencils out, circling, you know?
Yeah.
Pre-filling out the form as if we had all the money in the world, you know? Like,
right. Gav said, I used to work at a school library and I kept the Babysitters Club well stocked through garage sale finds. I'd hit the really posh neighborhoods and get the books in pristine condition. That's a great idea. That's awesome.
That's all. Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad to hear that they needed to be well stocked. That makes me happy. People saying hi. And then Raina said, I read a lot of the Babysitters growing up. I think I discovered them when I first visited a Walden Books in the 80s. Remember them? That's so funny. I asked my dad to buy a couple books and I was hooked. Nice.
And to that point, I'm almost certain my dad probably bought me that set in a Walden Books because he was traveling in the States. And what an ingenious idea for Scholastic to box them together into sets. Being like, oh, here, you know, get a set. Why not? Great gift for somebody.
Absolutely. Okay, now even I had Scholastic. Loved picking my books. Was it every month we got the little flyer with the picks? I don't remember how we didn't get them once a month, the flyer, but I know we got them like a few of them before like the fair. That's how they did it where I was at.
We had, for us, I think we got the flyer monthly, but the fair happened once during the school year. That was, I remember it being a big to-do, but the flyer used to come like every month.
It was the best day.
Right? I need that as an adult. I need that same feeling as an adult.
So this says, do you think Kristy is a good leader? Why or why not? So in the chat too, definitely if you read them, let us know what you're thinking. I think that Kristy is definitely a leader. However, I think she needs the girls around her to mellow her out from becoming a like micromanaging horrible leader.
It's me.
It's all about personality.
Yes. You know? Yeah. She can very easily become too much very quickly. And I think especially her friendship with Marianne really does cement her, like bring her down a little bit and like, you know, calm down, you know. And even the other girls, and part of what I love about their friendship is that they won't let her get away with like, okay, calm down, you know, like, yes, you have great ideas, but just take a deep breath, you know, like.
Well, and some of their, you know, in the books, some of their biggest like problems as the books go on is, their personality quirks that we're, you know, kind of mentioning with and it's specifically with Kristy, the becoming too much and you know, when they it's in book 4 they get into the really big fight, their first really big fight in terms of when the series is, and they remain in a fight for almost a month according to the
entirety of the book. Pretty much.
Yeah. You know, and they talk about in the span of time that like it had been like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something. And the things that they had problems with each other, specifically Kristy's, was that she's a big mouth, she's a bossy, she wants to run the show, she's controlling, and she is all those things. But she's a great leader and has great ideas. She just needs someone to kind of mellow her out from time to time. The girls do a good job of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they maybe I'll have to try one for middle grade March. Do it.
That's fun. That's a fun idea.
Do it. Hey Shannon, she says hi everyone. And Esther Jane says, and I was way too old for Babysitter's Club. What did you read when you were that age? Hey Annie, she says hello all. Trixie Belden is my nostalgic read of choice, though they were written way before the 80s. Yeah. Oh yeah. They were my mom's too. Like I said, I remember her having those and then the Bobbsey twins, and they would have been way. Yeah. I also, I liked the Boxcar Children, but I definitely didn't read all of them. There was quite a few, and I kind of, I think that I was reading the Boxcar Children, but the thing is once I found the Babysitter's Club, I was really obsessed. Like I was like pedal to the metal obsessed with those books. And so I kind of like got away from some of the other stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
But I did like Encyclopedia Brown.
Those are, now I have to be honest, I never read Boxcar Children. I never read Encyclopedia Brown.
Oh.
Yeah.
I liked both of them. Oh, and the Saddle Club. Yep.
I was obsessed with horses. Like most of us, I was obsessed with horses. I took riding lessons one summer just because I wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
So in that way, I could say I was very much like Mallory and Jessie, that I was obsessed with horses.
And Roxy says, you're not old, Esther. You are fine wine.
Very
I love
true.
it. I requested the first book of the Saddle Club series from my library. I read quite a few of them as a kid, but definitely want to reread. That is awesome.
I do as well.
Yes, I liked the Saddle Club too.
Mm-hmm.
Read a few of the Basers growing up. Then I just copied my older sister who read them. Also loved Sweet Valley High, Sweet Valley Kids, The Twins, High. I never read the university ones. I didn't read the kids ones. I read the Twins, High, but I didn't read the kids.
I didn't read kids. I did read university. And unfortunately, what I noticed as someone who read, there was no continuity. And that bothered me just a little. At least I noticed it when you got to the university ones. But I mean, they were the university ones later, just to coin a phrase, jump the shark big time. But they were still fun.
Yeah, and they I feel like they got more soap opera as time went on, and maybe that was as like literal time went on, like, when, I don't know, but I just feel like they really kind of got like, wow, they are out there. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing. I'm not,
No.
I mean, they were really soap opera for kids.
But and I mentioned this to Ollie because, like I mentioned, he actually read the final 2 books in the Sweet Valley High series, The Earthquake and Aftershock. And no spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read them, honestly, even though they came out 20 years ago. One of the main characters from the first Sweet Valley High book dies. And I mean, when I read that book, I was taken aback. And I hadn't read Sweet Valley yet, but again, like I did with book number 100, I'm like, come on, I'm now 20-something years old, but I want to read these just for nostalgia.
Yeah, no.
And I remember like actually being shocked that they killed off this character. And Ollie's like, in his review, he's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I said, you have to understand, you didn't read it the way it was meant to be read because you didn't live with this character for 130 books. Right? So there's a big difference to just picking it up and reading it to having that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he's like, oh, yeah. So now he's going back and reading from book
1. So before we wrap up book 1, I'm just wondering, do you think that the Babysitters Club could happen in the same way today?
I'm going to go no.
I don't think so either.
Mm-mm. And this is not a shot at parenting or parents, because I am not one. I'm not a parent. But I feel nowadays with technology and all the things that parents tend to keep their kids very close. Like we had a lot more freedom in the 80s. Like these girls were able to, I mean, how many vacations did they go on in the super specials? That would have never happened. That would never happen now. There's no way. And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah. Even like, I've reread a few of the Sleepover Friends in the last couple of years. And, they're like whipping it up in the kitchen and baking and just doing stuff that I don't think I would have been allowed to do at their age. And I know that now you have like Junior Chef Kid and like those reality shows, but I'm talking like a normal average kiddo that's not trying to compete on, something like that. But I also don't think it would work just because I think that 13-year-olds are not the same as 13-year-olds from the 80s. And
you're not wrong.
Like,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would ever.
The series worked perfectly for its time period.
It did.
And I think it ended just when it needed to,
Yeah. I just don't think things are innocent enough in the world for something just that like easygoing, like, hey, call this, you can get a bunch of sitters. They're young, middle grade, 13-year-olds.
Because you would be, as a 13-year-old, incredibly now, I know as the series runs through, you get the same babysitting charges. They all know each other. It's fine. But this day and age, like if the club was just starting, I think people would be very weary. Like if you had a 13-year-old girl, oh, Mom, I'm going to go babysit at this house down the street. I think Mommy would be a little bit like, I don't know about that. We don't know those people. You have to be so careful now. And you hate to think that way. Yeah. But it was a different time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's sweet, Sarah, about him holding one back for you. The lady at the drugstore on the square used to do that with 16 and Tiger Beat magazine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is a blast from the past.
I remember both those magazines.
Me too. I started reading them when I took a child lit class in college. We had to pick books for every age group, and I really liked them. Oh, I love that.
That's cool, Annie.
I wish I had a child lit class. When I found adults that read them, they went on my series list. I've been reading 2 a year. I'm on number 72.
That's fabulous.
Awesome. That is awesome. Rain said the Babysitter Club was my gateway to other absolutely. Oh, pen pals. That's a good one.
I have a couple of those. Oh my gosh, those were so much fun. I was obsessed with the idea of going to a boarding school.
Yeah, the pen pals. That's a good one, Raina.
Right?
I love Babysitters Club in Sweet Valley High. Absolutely. So number 2 in the series, Claudia and the Phantom Phone Call. Dun, dun, dun.
I love this one.
From the first 5, well, we can answer that at the end of the night. But we can think about it now. Which one is your favorite from books 1 through 5?
Okay.
I mean, you can answer it now if you want to, but we can also marinate on it.
I'll marinate on it.
Okay. How does Claudia feel about school compared to her art? Why is that important to her character?
I think it worked really well for Claudia. And I really loved how because she wasn't perfect. And I think a lot of other kids maybe identified with that maybe they struggled in school too. Maybe they weren't the best at spelling. Maybe they weren't the best at whatever. And even in her notebook entries, like she doesn't spell correctly. And I love the fact that they did that, especially having Janine for a sister. That's, that just of having this genius sister. Yeah. When in reality, she really is smart. Like, I think she says it in book 2 that she does have a high IQ. Yeah. She just doesn't, and I can hear my own parents in my ear. You're not applying yourself, There are things that are more important to Claudia than school. And it's art and babysitting and her friends. And I think that works really well for her character. It really, makes her a very interesting character.
Yeah, I think that she represented, like you mentioned, maybe kids that weren't the best student, but also the idea that when you're in the shadow of a sibling, whether it be because they're a genius academically, like Janine, or they're an athlete, or whatever, and they gave her something else to excel at. That's what I did like, and that was art for her.
Yes,
and she's just such a creative character too.
Mm-hmm.
The
descriptions of the outfits were always so fantastic, right?
Right. I mean, how people are always like, what character are you from the Sex and the City? And people are always like, I'm such and such, but wish I was a Carrie. I'm like, well, I'm not really any of the 4 girls, but I wish I was a Claudia.
100%. I wish I had the guts to dress the way Claudia dresses. I like talk about like one earring is a dog and the other one is a bone. And I'm just like, I just loved that when I was younger,
Yeah. And just her art skills. I mean, yeah, she was
good at every bit of art, not just painting or not just this. It was all the things.
Did this book scare you?
As a child, I don't know if it's, I think because at the time I was reading the series, I think I may have been babysitting myself at the time. And I think I remember thinking about, what if we got a call? What if, because I remember some of my vivid memories as a babysitter, because I babysat a lot, was being at the house after dark and in a strange house that wasn't your own and there wasn't an adult around. And so I can see how this book may have made me scared, but I think reading it made me remember my own experiences in the same situation.
Yeah. So I also babysit a lot. And this book did kind of freak me out, but I'm a scaredy cat. But it also, I remember that I used some of the tactics that
really?
Make sure, even it was just put something in front of the door because they would alert you, just silly stuff. It's just silly. But I was around the same age as them when I kind of first started. Actually, I was probably younger than they are, because I probably was more about 10. I wasn't babysitting. I probably started babysitting about 12, but I mean, like, you know, so, but yeah, I think about, you know, I think it made me more alert or more conscientious of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in this book, what's happening is that there is somebody who is calling people and basically seeing if they're out of the house, and then if they're out of the house, robbing them of just jewelry. Right? It was only
jewelry. Yep.
It was only taking jewelry, and so, you know, it became a big deal. And so the girls were hearing about it on the news, the phantom caller, he'll call and make sure, you know, and so they had all these plans, and it was so funny because they they were really smart girls for their age. They made like a code system where they could call each other and say, if they, you know, wouldn't be able to say, oh, I'm in trouble, you know, somebody's in the house, they would say something about a red ribbon or
Claudia, have you seen my red ribbon, or whatever the case may be? That
was ingenious for middle school girls to come up with, you know. So they practice these, you know, codes and everything, and then there's some incidences where the girls start getting what they think may be the phantom phone calls. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, but so that's kind of the synopsis of the phantom phone caller is the person robbing these places. How does Claudia deal with feeling misunderstood by adults? Mainly her parents.
I mean, obviously she doesn't enjoy, you know, the feeling, obviously not. But I have to be honest, in my reread of it as an adult, that I feel like, and I mean, not just adults, but Janine as well, that sometimes she could push back a little bit and act maybe a little bit childish. Like, you know, Janine's trying to, like, and now Janine is not the easiest person to talk to because she's so smart. But she starts to express herself, and Claudia just basically tells her to shut up. And I'm like, okay, that's a very childish way of kind of, you know, but I guess it's also her frustration showing. That I just want to have a conversation with my sister, and I can't. Because we're too far apart in talking, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we mentioned that Janine is a genius. And, you know, she's taking college classes, and but she's on the level where, like Sarah was saying, it's hard to talk to her, but not just because she's in a different academic level as you, but because she always wants to correct you. And that would be very infuriating. You know, she's like, actually, it wouldn't be infuriating. It can't be infuriating because, you know, and then she would tell me why I was wrong for using that word and what word I should use. And it would be with everything. And you're just like, I just want to ask you to take the dog out. Like,
yeah, exactly. You know? Exactly. And I know they mentioned, in the series they mentioned, I distinctly remember them saying that Claudia's IQ was 197. And I remember reading something one time saying that she was actually considered to be smarter than Einstein. Like, her IQ, if you compared it to actual geniuses, Janine was even above that. Like, it was ludicrous. Like, they said years later, people would do research on this and said it was ridiculous. The number that they picked for her IQ.
Yeah. But she was. And I think that because Janine's parents, or because Janine was the way she was, their parents expected even more out of Claudia.
100%.
Now, to her parents' benefit, Claudia didn't apply herself. She says that wholeheartedly numerous times herself. So I can understand that they would be a little frustrated too. But I don't think they tried to understand her, like, love of art and, you know, some of
and her love of the Nancy Drew books. That always blew me away that she had to hide them. I'm thinking because they were trash literature, like, at least she's reading.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Claudia also, not that this has anything to do with her with academics, but Claudia has a junk food hidden all over her
Which
room as well.
I love
Everywhere.
for her. Mm-hmm.
Everywhere she has junk food hidden and tucked away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was a true crime and horror fan in the 80s.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, good for you. I'm too much of a scaredy. I felt more connected to Marianne being shy and sheltered, but slowly coming into her own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of the sheltered, I could totally understand Marianne and feeling like you're not allowed to grow up. So Marianne's character, her mother passed away when she was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's raised by her single dad and Richard, and he's a lawyer, and I picture him to be very stuffy, like almost like the Richard Gilmore in Gilmore's, but without the money. Like just very like I'm wearing a complete 3-piece suit at 11 p.m. I never relax, like, but I mean, he has the best, I think he truly has the best, intentions.
Absolutely.
But, Marianne is still expected to wear her hair in braids every day, and she's expected to wear a skirt every single day. She'd never worn a pair of jeans. Until a couple books in when, and her bedroom, she literally describes her bedroom because she is able to change it and redecorate it in book 4 or book 5. And book 4 or 5, she had
a nursery. Basically, she had a nursery
on her wall.
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I pictured her room to look like a baby's nursery, but with like a twin bed. That's what I pictured.
Really how she described it. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah. Growing up, I was not a reader at all. Gotcha. I can't remember all of what I read in the 80s, but I probably went from early 80s Encyclopedia Brown Ramona to late 80s Pet Sematary, as one does. LOL.
As you do. Yes, exactly.
I loved Ramona, the Ramona series. I also think like that makes me always think of Super Fudge. I love the Super Fudge series.
My husband too. Yes. Big fan.
I was a big.
I think one of my favorites was Ramona and Beasley was one of my favorites.
Yeah. And Ramona, like I hear a lot of people, and I totally agree, but like Junie B. Jones, a lot of people don't like Junie B. Jones. We've talked about that a lot because, but Ramona was kind of on that cusp. She just wasn't the extreme version. She was a little bit of a Junie B. Jones, just clearly not to that extent. Don't get me wrong, but she had a lot of, but I loved her. I love Beverly Cleary in general.
Oh gosh, yes.
But yeah, and I was a big fan of the Judy Blume, Super Fudge, and all of those. How to Eat Fried Worms. Did y'all read that?
I think so.
Oh,
we really did have the heyday of books growing up, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, we really did.
And I think it's funny because I think that like there was no YA when we were growing up. Hence why somebody went from Ramona to Pet Sematary. And like me, I went from Babysitters Club to, I just took a different route than Not Scary, but like I was reading like VC Andrews and like, so I shouldn't have been reading. Or even like the Danielle Steele I read that very young because there wasn't like YA when we were a kid. There was great like heyday of middle school years for us.
Absolutely.
But there wasn't a lot of YA like there is now. Definitely not a whole section.
No. And I mean, if you stop and think about it, we are the kids of the baby boomers, right? So, there were so like, and I think that the baby boomers were like, this is what we didn't have. Let's give it to our kids. And they were the ones writing these books for us, and it was brilliant.
Yeah. Jess said, yeah, I remember the Babysitter's Little Sister as a kid. So silly for sure.
Even like, so I'm jumping ahead, but I just finished the first super special and there's a chapter with Karen and she's allowed to go get her earplugs in the room and Kristy lets her go and she's off for like 3 hours. I'm like, they would have been all hands on deck looking for this 6-year-old girl, but Kristy's still waiting by the pool for her to come back. I'm like, What the heck? She could have been
Right?
overboard for all you know.
Right.
The lack of parental supervision was quite high in some of these books, surprisingly.
Yeah. And Annie said, I relate the most to Stacy because of my limited diet and having to safeguard that when others are eating whatever they want. But I like a bit of all of the characters. Yeah, because I think that she did such a good job balancing their personalities. I really do.
And I think that you can find a little bit of yourself in every single character, some way or another.
Oh, I think they're each relatable in some way, for sure. Christine said, yes, it was called My Babysitter's Club Little Sister series, centered around Karen. They were my favorite growing up. Gotcha.
Okay.
I just struggle with Karen. I'm glad you liked them. And I'll, you know, hey, Ambi, she says, hello for my creative corner of creation. And Roxy seconded, I love the Ramona books. This asks in Claudia and the Phantom Phone Call, what does the book show about sibling relationships, especially between Claudia and Janine?
I mean, it shows that they can definitely be difficult. They're not easy, and you do have to work on them. You know, but it's a two-way street. You can't just expect the one person to do all the work. You know, and I think that Mimi talks a lot about that. I love Claudia's
She's
family.
one of my yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That and I was going to also say that Mimi gives a lot of sound advice because she was talking about her relationship with her own sister in that book. Yes. And how sometimes like you have to make an effort, Claudia, and you know, you push back just as much as she gets on your nerves.
That's right.
You support her, and because so one of the things is that the school sends something home to Claudia's parents saying that she's not turning in homework and doing very well. And so they each sit down. One person sits down with her every night to do homework. Mimi takes a night, which is their grandmother, and that she lives with the family. And then Janine takes a night, and then mom and dad. And she talks about, like, you're short to pop off at Janine when she's just trying to help you to get through things. And she really makes her think about, like, what part are you playing in the relationship issues? Janine's not perfect, but you're also doing things that is contributing to the problems of this relationship.
One of my favorite scenes in book 2, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but something happens while Claudia's babysitting towards the end. And Janine comes into her room, and Claudia thinks, oh, God, here we go. She's going to, But they sit down and have an actual talk, and Claudia tells her what happened, and Janine tells her how proud she is of her. And, she shares the fact that Janine also has junk food hidden around her. So, they start to see that maybe they have a bit more in common than they think they do, So that's one of my favorite scenes. Actually, in like the first 5 books, it's one of my favorite scenes.
And I do think, to a point you made earlier, it like, or we were talking about earlier about, it shows you that, sibling issues can be hard as terms of when one is perceived to be better at one individual thing. And when it overshadows the other one, thought, whether it's perceived or actually true, and how it affects that relationship.
Absolutely.
Angel Wolf said, my favorite Marianne, now favorite Stacy, same as Sarah, least favorite Karen. Annie said, I also like Mallory because I grew up in a big family. Every story about her seems to take place in her home and surrounded by chaos of siblings, so I don't think she has much of a personality. So Mallory comes from a family of 8.
Yes.
And they often babysit for the 2 younger kids in her family, but there are times in the series that they have to babysit all 8 of them, and Mallory is usually tries to be more of a helper in those situations, and so that's how it.
Yes.
And she probably is parentified in a lot of ways that she
100%.
Because when you have 7 siblings and you're the oldest,
That tends to happen. I mean, if you watched TV shows like the was it the Duggars or whatever it was, like the older children tend to start to become that, like they're just automatically, okay, look after your siblings, kind of an idea. And you see that later on in the series with Mallory, and I could see how, it could kind of have some resentment too, like they're not my kids, like.
Yeah. Or I didn't get to have the same childhood because I had to grow up and take care of the younger ones.
Right? Exactly.
I used to get the babysitters clubs at the book fair at school. Yes. Yeah. Right? The Scholastic book little magazine was, but a full catalog for book lovers.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Because it had posters and it had bookmarks and oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I came home with all sorts of things from the Scholastic.
Right? Erasers and pencils and
in the books. I read Babysitter's Club, Ramona, Clifford and the Big Red Dog, Sweet Valley High. See, American Girls.
I remember those.
I remember those, but I was way too old, like when they first started coming out. But my niece loved them, and I would remember her reading them, and then I would be like, oh, like I would read them like because she had one on her shelf or something.
Correct.
Like that.
Yes.
But I was, they came out way after my time. Curious George, Dr. Seuss, the Golden Books, and so much more I can't think of. Yeah. The Golden Books, the ones that they come out with now with like, they've done like Betty White and
Taylor Swift.
And oh, have they?
Yes, they did a Taylor Swift one. It was delightful. I made a flip through it at the Walmart.
Oh, I loved American Girl books. Nice. And then Storm said, yep, love the Scholastic and the book fair. We need a book fair for adults. We do. You know what I would love to see for adults is not even necessarily the same exact thing, but like a book it.
Thank you.
Like libraries should do something like that. Like, here's your punch card. Like, I don't know. Here's your, I mean, I guess you could do pizzas, but you could do anything, I mean.
Pizza Hut would make it.
I mean, like I would get I read so many books just because I loved reading. Right. That like Pizza Hut like question. They were like,
"Are you sure?"
And my family would be like, "No, she did." She did.
I was joking with my husband the other day because there's a deal up here now with our Pizza Hut that for $5 you can get a personal pan pizza with one topping and some fries and stuff like that, which isn't a bad lunch deal, right? So I'm like, every book I finish now, I'm going to put $1 aside, and when I get my $5, I'm going to go get my Book It pizza.
There you go. There you go.
My adult
there you go. You got Book It. You made your own Book It.
Right?
Wouldn't that be fun? Like,
that'd be awesome.
Gosh. Book It was the best thing about.
Right?
I loved it.
Speaking of American Girls, they did come out with an American Girls 90s doll, and she came with the Book It, whatever, like badge or something like that. Like it was very
really?
Cool. Yeah, look it up when you get the chance. Like when we're done here, look it up. She even came with like the Pizza Hut box and stuff. It was very cool.
Okay, that is awesome.
Although what upset me is that American Girl dolls are historical dolls, and that came out in the 90s. True. And that bothered me is that she's now a historical figure from the 90s.
I think I spelled Dr. Seuss wrong because autocorrect is correcting it to Dr. Jesus.
Dr. Jesus. That's hilarious.
So true, Tiffany. Thank you. Yes, we do, Storm. That would be awesome, right? I agree. Yes, a leader, but agree with Tiffany and Sarah. They about them mellowing her out, right? She needed a little like, ooh. And if you look at her relationships with her brothers, I thought that they did a good job because her older brothers, had a fairly decent relationship with Kristy. And so I think it allowed you to see a different side, like, oh, like these people, they struggle with the relationship, but this family over here has older siblings. She had older siblings, and her brothers were pretty good to her. I mean, they teased her, and Sam would like prank call, but they were very good to her.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the younger one too, and David Michael.
Yeah, and but the dynamic I think was different as well too. Whereas like Kristy didn't have the dad, he abandoned the family, so like the brothers, they all kind of like, when you're put in a different situation, it makes you either bond or not. And I think that they bonded as siblings for Kristy and her brothers.
Yeah, I like Charlie and Sam a lot, actually.
Me too. Me too.
Still trying to relive the Scholastic book fair high, right?
You're not wrong.
I agree. Man. I think she was a bit too harsh. She had no tact when it came to the business part of dealing with the other girls.
Oh yeah, she would totally just, this is my way or the highway a lot of the times. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that the girls, as time went along, were strong enough to be like, slow your roll. Like, and I think that the first time we see that is in book number 4, when they have the knockdown blowout fight. And all of them are mad at each other. So every one of them, because normally Sarah made a point earlier when we first started that like it was very much like Claudia and Stacy and Marianne and Kristy. They were all 4 friends, but Mary and Kristy have been best friends for years. And Claudia, just when Stacy moved, Stacy is from New York. She's really into fashion. Claudia, as Sarah mentioned, is totally into fashion. They just bonded instantly over kind of that sort of stuff. And she always feels like, and they're both boy crazy. And, some of these things that like Kristy and Marianne don't have anything to do with at this point.
Right.
And so during that fight though, it was every man for himself.
That's right. They were all sitting separately and everything.
Yeah. And they did pick at the flaws that we all saw. Like the things they said to Kristy was, you're bossy, you're a bit too harsh, you're demanding, you're controlling, with Marianne, they were like calling her a baby, and they're like, she
was a crybaby and she was sensitive and she was,
she couldn't stay out to as late as some of the other girls as far as babysitting and stuff like that. And they really were all 4 at each other. We got the Scholastic Flyers monthly, and the book fair was every fall and spring. So you had 2? I only remember having 1.
Yeah, I only remember having 1 too. My mother's thankful that we probably only ever had 1.
Right? Right? Shannon, you're like, that's a magical.
Right?
2, we so need book fairs for adults, right?
I'm just picturing them being set up in like the local library, like, yes, we could go to the bookstore as adults and we have adult money now, but there's just something about the curated set of books and that feeling of going and,
Yes, absolutely.
I want the feeling of the Scholastic Book Fair.
That's, yeah. Yeah. Cation said, Roxy, now I want a version of the Gospels where Jesus makes
it. Green eggs and ham.
Oh my gosh! Now that made me chuckle.
You can eat them on a train. You can eat them on.
I had so many of the Babysitters Club books. Oh,
I have so many of them now.
Do you have yours?
Well, no, I'm recollecting them all, but I'm missing probably half the series. I have to go through everything and figure out what I have and what I need and really start hitting up the thrift stores.
So I had, I think, 1 through about 70. And then as mentioned, I kind of stopped reading them. I kind of grew out of that phase. I've read most of the others. I don't know if I've read all past, like you're saying, but I did go back and read some of the ones that after I aged out. But I owned probably like 1 through 70, but I also owned all the mysteries, all the super specials, and so much so that my husband will gladly, he's in the other room, so I hope he doesn't hear me. When we met, I was in college and I had a storage shed that was just, because I lived in a very, very small apartment. And I had a storage unit shed that I rented each month that just had tubs of books. And almost like all of them were Babysitter Club books.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Mine got sold years ago, like when I moved out of the house. My mom just sold them all, blah, blah, blah. All my Sweet Valley High, all my Babysitters Club, all of them gone. I had not just the books, I also had all the merchandise. I had the calendars, I had the dolls, I had the board games. I, to this day, hunt eBay for the board games. I want them back. Just to have on my shelf.
Right? Yeah, and my mother did not sell them. I had them with me. That's probably the only reason, to be honest with you, because she probably told me like, "Hey, get these out of my house, or I'm going to sell them or get rid of them or whatever." So that's why I had them with me at college. But we were like, okay, we gotta downsize some of our books, and at the time, I was like, well, I don't need these. And I gave them to one of my closest friends who had a daughter. And now I'm like, I want them back. I would never ask for them back.
Right?
It's been years. This is years ago. But, I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
Well, the other thing that I'm remembering now, because not all of my books got sold, is that I used to nanny one summer between high school and college. I was nannying for a family, and the little girl, I used to bring the kids over to the house here, because we have a pool in the backyard, and with permission of the parents, of course. It was like, can the kids come swimming? So a couple times a week. Well, the little girl loved to look at my Babysitters Club books, and I would let her borrow them, and I guarantee you so many of them I never got back. But you know what? I'm okay with it in retrospect, because I'm glad they went to somebody who loved them. You know what I mean?
And that's what I think about with giving them to that girl. I know that she read them, and then they actually end up having another daughter, and so I'm sure she read them.
Right? Yes.
But it's more about me being like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? And anything else, like, I still would be happy to give away books, but that particular series I should have kept. Absolutely. And I'm regretful that I didn't, because that's probably like my biggest obsession of my childhood.
And I think for me, the bigger thing is recollecting them now. Is I had the original editions. They've redone the cover since, right?
1,000 times, and I don't like it.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Even like the new ones that are out now with the illustrated covers, okay, whatever. But the ones that I didn't like were the ones that they put the thing on and then they had their faces. Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
Yes.
Their faces were down the side. And they redid them right from book one. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just leave them. Yeah. So now when I hunt them out, I try and find the ones without that, if at all possible.
Yes. And it's so funny. Like, I'm so weird about it, because even now, like, as I'm rereading them through my library through ebooks.
Same. Yep.
And I still will only check out the covers with the original. I have no idea. Like, that's so petty.
It doesn't make a difference, but it does.
It doesn't. But in my head, like, that's what I associate my favorite times with, is that particular. I want the so silly.
So, fun fact, if you want to hear this, I just read this week. In terms of the covers of the Babysitters Club books. So they were illustrated by one person, except for the first, I think, the 2 books or first book. It was a different illustrator for whatever reason. But after book 3, it was the same illustrator, okay? This illustrator also illustrated for Harlequin. He used to do romance novels covers at the same time. These were all painted in oil. Like, this was an article from the Washington Post that I read, okay? And he used to be able to do a cover in 3 days. He could paint a cover. The models that were used, because they would photograph the picture, and then he would paint from the photograph, right? They used the same models during the entire run of the series. So if you notice at points, I have even pointed out, Marianne looks kind of old to be 13 years old. That's because they used the same model and she just aged. When they got to a point where they were too old, they switched them. But yeah. So I just thought it was so interesting about the covers. And he, not recently, because this article was from 5 years ago, he was selling off the original artwork for the Babysitters Club books. Had I have known at the time, I would have been crawling over somebody to get my hands on some original artwork. Right. That would have definitely been something to go in the book room.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Neither did I, and I just thought it was fascinating.
We've said this before, but and I didn't know it until I was like, I mean, maybe like within the last few years,
Mm-mm.
adult, like not just like a young adult, but like I probably didn't know it till maybe the last 5 years. But Ann M. Martin only wrote the first 4.
The first 4. Am I
And
understanding?
after that, it's all written by someone else, which is crazy because nobody else is ever given like, I mean, I'm not saying there's maybe nothing in the like title page or whatever, but as a kid, like I read 100 or more of those books, like 70, and then the mysteries and the super specials.
Absolutely.
And then I went back as a teen, was when older teen went back and was reading some of the older ones, probably 100 and some books, and never realized. So she only wrote 4. So 96 of those was written by someone else. And that's insane.
And the thing is even now, rereading them, when I logged them on my spreadsheet, they were written by Ann M. Martin. That's what I write on my spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
They were written by Ann M. Martin. You know what I mean? But I'm just opening up the one that I'm reading right now just to, if I can get it to, you know, when you want your Kindle to do something, it won't.
Of course.
Always. Because it actually acknowledges the actual writer at the beginning of each story. So if you go to the part that has like this book is for M from A with Elf. So this isn't one that's going to do. But if you look at one of them and it says they would like to thank Bob Smith for their contributing to this manuscript, that's the person who actually wrote the book. If you ever see that on the dedication page,
so crazy.
Yeah, I found that out probably around the same time you found out she didn't write them.
It's just crazy that she gets that much recognition and really is the only person known for the book, and she wrote 4 out of 100.
Well, if you think about it, hello Francine Pascal, she wrote none of those. I don't think she just
I don't think she did, which is really interesting.
And technically, if you look at the books themselves, it never actually says written by Francine Pascal. It says created by Francine Pascal. Of course.
I have the Main Street series, and I'm thinking about reading them for middle grade March. I have never read those, but they're Ann M. Martin too, right?
Yes, they are.
Did you read them? I
did not. I think those came out much after the Babysitters Club.
Yeah. That's interesting. Shannon, have you read them before, or are you thinking about reading them for the first time for middle grade March? I loved adventure books as a kid. So I like the adventurous. Oh, Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, yes.
I loved the movies more than the books in Pippi Longstocking, which is, I never would say that, but I did absolutely love the Pippi Longstocking movies. But you know what you made me think of was Choose Your Own Adventure.
Those books were fun.
I loved those books. And I always think that somebody should come out with a series of those as adults, but like even for like romance books or cozy mysteries, like if you want the killer to
right should you go into the basement or not?
Yeah, if you think the killer is A, go to this page and see if you're you know. And for romance it could be like, you know, when there's love triangles, if you prefer, I don't know, I mean there's just so many things. I loved the Choose Your Own Adventure, and one of the things I loved about them is like you could reread that book for someone who, like I said, was in an area where a library was very, very limited. And, you know, even when we went to Walden Books once every 2 weeks or so, I wasn't getting like 12, 15 books.
You were probably getting a book, maybe 2 if you were lucky.
And so those Choose Your Own Adventures were like 6 books in one or something, you know?
Absolutely.
I loved them. Oh. My sister had the university books from Sweet Valley High and gave them all away.
Oh, they're hard to come across now, I can tell you.
Wow. I don't think so either. Jess said, I agree with Sarah. The only people who ever took care of my kids besides me and my partner were his mother, a good friend, and on very few occasions, our friends' teenage kids. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's just a totally different
world. Absolutely.
Different world. And I feel like when I was that age, the parents, you know, obviously wanted to make sure that I was mature enough to take care of their kids. And not that my parents weren't responsible, but I don't remember the same way as I feel like now. It would be both ways, would be very cautious. Like if you had a 13-year-old now that was baby first setting for someone, you would also be like, are you going to be alone with the dad? Do you know who this dad is? Like of the person you're babysitting for? Like it's just
100%.
a totally different. Whereas my parents were like, oh, you're going to be at such and such as down the road. Okay. And like, you know, call us
And
when
the
you
dad
start
would
walking
drive you
or whatever,
home at 10 o'clock at night.
you know, like, and it just, but now I feel like it's different for both sides. Like
100%.
I agree, Jess. Like I would only, there'd be very few kids that I think I could feel comfortable leaving my kids with now.
Even back then, I don't think I babysat for anyone else outside of friends of my parents' friends' kids.
Yeah, they were all people but I lived in a very small town where everybody knew everybody.
Yeah. Like that's because I was my dad's parent, like my parents' friends, their kids were a lot younger than me. So I wasn't automatically, you know. But then when I got the nanny position, it was something that was posted in our neighborhood and they lived down the street. You know what I mean? So it was, but I was also 18. There's a big difference to 13, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So number 3 is the truth about Stacy. And the first question says, why does Stacy keep her diabetes a secret at first?
Because because they kept it, didn't tell anybody about it when she was living in New York. And because nobody knew, they treated her very differently because she was fainting and she was getting sick at school. And, you know, I think in that book, a lot of that could have been avoided had everybody just said, hey, this is the situation that we're dealing with. You know?
Yeah. I think from the parents' perspective, but I think from Stacy's perspective, she lost a lot of friends because of her sickness. And I don't know that if they would have known it would have been any different because
kids are very, funny.
Well, and there is a, so they go back to New York several times. They go back to New York a lot to see the doctors there. Mm-hmm. And she had a specific friend who kind of stopped being friends with her and kind of spread these rumors about her and she's contagious and all these other things. Mm-hmm. And I think even had she known the truth, it would have been the same because when they confront each other and they talk about it, the girl says, you were getting so much attention and you were,
that's right.
You know,
that's right.
But now from her parents' perspective, I think that if they would have been more forthcoming and because they were also friends with that girl's parents probably, my parents in that same situation would have sat me down and been like, hey, your friend Maria's got this going on. You need to make sure that
that's right.
If you see her struggling or whatever, like I would have, you know, I think it could have totally been handled different had the parents.
Absolutely.
But I think that she, like, from the perspective of why'd she keep it a secret from the Babysitters Club in the beginning was because she's had her very good friends.
She already was burned. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Completely turn on her. And it was all in relation to her diabetes.
And it was made worse. Like everything was made worse by her keeping it a secret.
Yeah. Yeah. No way. I don't think people can trust children that they don't know extremely well because of their different maturity level now. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do the other club members respond when they learn the truth about Stacy's diabetes?
Kristy's was my favorite. Is that all?
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, is that all? Because her cousin has diabetes. So to her, it was like, okay. And I think she says, it's no big deal. We just won't offer you sweets anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's a complete change to what she experienced in New York, you know?
Well, and so the reason that there's this, is that all because there's this big buildup and then like, including like Kristy confronting the family and calling Stacy's mom a liar because well, she had lied because, you know, they went to see a doctor in New York and because they were, as Sarah said, trying to cover it up, they made all these excuses and they were like, well, we're not back. And the girls were going to have a pizza party and Stacy didn't want to say that she couldn't go. So she was like, well, I'm going to be in New York. And then somebody sees Stacy.
Marianne, when she was on her way to babysit, sees. Yes.
And so Kristy confronts her and, you know, and then Stacy and Kristy says, well, your mom lied for you. And like there's this whole like big confrontation. So when she finally comes out about it, she's like, that's what caused all this problem. That's what,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It was a really fun reaction. And
Yep.
I think all the girls, were like, okay, well, we'll make sure that we don't, offer sweets around you.
And then, like they said, we don't have to tell all the kids at school, but just those of us who know you best. Like not everybody needs to know. Just those you hang around with the most. And I think that's a good way of looking at really any kind of thing that you're dealing with like that,
Yeah. Hey, Tiff and Sarah, it's been so long. I'm so happy I was able to finally catch a live. I hope you both are well. What a fun theme tonight. It's so good to see you, Marie.
Welcome.
I hope you are well. Thank you for joining us. Now, my kids are 10 and 12, and they're okay at home for a couple of hours with each other. And my 12-year-old has a cell phone for calls, texts, so we are in contact with each other.
Very good.
So the one of the kids that is cooking all the amazing meals is either 10 or 12 years old, is what you're telling me?
Right.
Because in my head, I thought they were like, 15.
Well, tween to me says 12.
Oh, she does say my tween. She does say
because tween isn't quite a teen.
Yeah, she
right?
does. She does. In my head,
That's
though,
amazing,
like,
Jess.
I can't imagine, like, when I was 12, well, I don't want to say what I was doing, but I wasn't cooking.
Even now, at 12 is the same as now. I was cooking craft dinner and fish sticks. And quite proud of
I
myself.
wasn't doing that either. That's amazing. And tell us, I'm assuming it's your 12-year-old, but I can't make assumptions at this point.
Right? It could be the 10-year-old.
That is amazing, though. That is really, really awesome. I'll admit, I don't think this could happen anymore. I feel like kids just riding their bikes to babysit and watching until 9:30 just doesn't happen as a mom of 2 teenage boys. I agree. That's why I don't think it could ever happen again. Because I think it's just a totally different world from both people's perspectives, like I said, as opposed to just, parents asking the babysitter. If I grew up now, I could see my parents being like, well, who are you sitting for? What do they do? What are they? I need, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's just
And just the fact of putting a flyer up on the local mailbox with your phone number on it would never happen today.
Yeah.
Generally, right?
Yeah. We moved right before I started 7th grade, and it was 1999. I thought I was too old for a lot of stuff, like my Babysitter Club books and all my Disney stuff I had. Beauty and the Beast, lamp posters, bedding. Wow. So I got rid of all of it.
Understood.
And then like a few years later, you're so, oh gosh. I agree. That innocence is just gone today. Yeah. I agree. It's sad. I mean, they did try to update it with the Netflix series a few years, but I feel like it didn't really resonate with kids today. I agree.
100%. I still am convinced that they did that for the nostalgia for those of us who read it as kids. And I think they missed the mark because they tried to check too many boxes. That's just my personal opinion. Because, I mean, why else would you make Alicia Silverstone, Kristy's mom, unless you were trying to get us Gen X kids into it?
And I don't think that, like, the storyline hits the same way either. Like,
no.
From,
I have to admit,
readers of that age, like 12-year-olds today, I don't think would be like, it's a series all about girls that are babysit together. Well, I don't see that being a thing today either.
The second book was completely changed. Like Claudia, because they did it according to the books if you watch or didn't watch it.
Yes.
But Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls, they didn't do. Why? People don't have landlines anymore. So it didn't work. It actually didn't work as a book.
So I think that by modernizing it, they did themselves a disservice because the audience they were shooting for was us. And I didn't want to see it modernized. I wanted to see what I came for the nostalgia of watching it. That was the whole, because I don't think they were trying to find this whole new audience. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not saying they didn't want to catch anybody younger, but I feel like we were the target audience. And by doing that and modernizing it, it just took away from my memories of it.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. I didn't hit the mark. In general, we didn't need childcare. My partner is a stay-at-home dad. So childcare wasn't something we wanted, except for a random date night every 4 months or whatever. That's awesome. That's awesome. Not sure if anyone mentioned already, but I used to love the Nancy Drew File books in addition to the Babysitter's Club.
Yep, the Nancy Drew case
Yes.
files, those were so great.
And I loved the crossovers. Those I don't know what it was, but I just felt like it was even more magical with the crossover books.
Oh gosh, yes. I just pulled one of those off my shelf the other day, and I'm like, I really want to reread this right now.
So I thought it was borderline scary too, but this is coming from, maybe you don't feel this about yourself, but I'm a total scaredy cat. So it was borderline scary for me as well. But she said, Claudia and the Phantom phone call surprised me. Her sister was mean, and the burglar storyline was borderline scary. When Kristy dropped off the casserole and just went into the house, I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember that too. Rereading it now as an adult, I'm like, wait, she just wandered into the house?
Yeah.
Like to drop off the cat, you would never do. Every door is locked now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I don't feel like that would happen anyways, because although like that was really not safe of her in today's world, I don't think it would happen because you'd be on your phone like, oh, I'm almost to your door. Like
100%. Yes.
Like there's just so many things but thank goodness, because that is really like, I agree. When I reread it, the same exact thought was like, you just walked in.
Like, yeah, exactly.
And I didn't notice that as a kid. I don't think it would have fazed me when I first read it. I don't remember it fazing me. I mean, of course, that's a minute detail, but I just don't think it would have. Anyway. Yes, I wanted to be Claudia so bad. I feel like I said, it's just so funny to me because you always hear it done with Sex and the City, but I'm like, nah, the Babysitter's Club. I wanted to be Claudia, but I was really... I watched the original Babysitter Club TV show on Disney and one or two of the movies.
I mentioned this to you in a live show before, Tiffany, about the fact that somebody has uploaded all of those episodes to YouTube to watch.
Yes.
I'm finding it now. I'm going to post it in the Discord. Yes. Where should I post it in Discord? Maybe just in the general. I'll just post it in the general.
Yeah.
So if any of you want to rewatch them on YouTube, have at it.
There might be like a TV show section, but I would just post it in the general and we can always move it and let everybody know if
yeah, it's from
there is a TV and movie section in miscellaneous.
Okay, I will do that now.
Thank you. Yes, I would love that.
I want to do it before I forget.
Thank you. I remember Disney Channel showing the series. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch those, but I have seen the movie. Well, the movies, yeah. Sorry, I lost my spot of where I was.
Oh,
my
fine.
phone went off. There we go. I had a sister that was a straight A student when I was more of a C, so I could relate to Claudia. My parents didn't compare us, which was smart, but of course they praised her good grades. Yeah. I was only born. I was only born in 1987, so my Babysitter Club time was in the 90s. Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Shannon, yes, she said I love the Fudge series too. I could identify with Marianne the most. I started reading Edgar Allan Poe when I was 11. Oh my goodness. But that was what we were reading in school. Yeah. Because I feel like we read the excerpt of like, what is it? Telltale Heart or whatever that's called.
Yes, a Telltale Heart. Yep.
Telltale Heart. I feel like that was in middle school. Like it was like a section, like, did your English book have like little excerpts of bigger books?
I think so. Yes. Yes.
And so like, I feel like that, we did read it in school, but I feel like I don't think I was in high school. I think it was middle school when we read it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was traumatized because everything scares me. And you know what? I hate repetitive sounds. I've said this with the needles.
Yes. Yes,
but
me too.
any repetitive sounds, it may come from that. It maybe is Edgar Allan Poe PTSD. And every time I go home, my mom has a clock that ticks, and Kevin and I will hide it. And she'll, like, before I leave, she'll be like, "Tell me where it's at." I'm like, "No, because I don't want you to have it up when I come back." But she always finds it.
We have, you know, those cats that are in Chinese that they,
Yes.
okay. So my mother has one that is light, like if the sunlight hits it, it's solar power. That's what I'm looking for. It's a toy that my nephew has. It's only about this big, but it sits in the other room. When I'm in the kitchen and if it's quiet downstairs, you can hear the arm. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, shut it up, shut it up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, loved Ramona books and the Ralph Mouse books.
Yes.
But, I read the motorcycle one, Ralph and the whatever that was.
The
Ralph,
motorcycle?
yeah, the one where he's on the Ralph and the motorcycle, or something like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And anyways, I reread it a few years ago, and I did not
The
care
Mouse
for
and the Motorcycle.
Thank you. The Mouse and the Motorcycle. And I liked him as a kid, but I did not like it when I reread it. I was like, what was I thinking?
That's too bad.
I don't know. I just, yeah. Me too. I've been living under a rock. I didn't know they changed the cover illustration of the Babysitters Club. I missed the old cover. Yes, the old covers are the best.
Mm-hmm.
The best. Gotcha. I knew what you meant. My local used bookstores, a punch card, buy 10 books, buy 10, get a book free. Love it. Love it. My independent bookstore did something like that. And they also did where they would take the old paper grocery bags, and they would put 10 mysteries in the bag, and they would be $2.
Yes.
And she would make up children ones. And I think she kind of like your guy. I can't prove this, but I think a lot of times, because I went in faithfully, and I think she'd be like, "Oh, look, I have a couple new mystery bags of," she called all of them mystery bags, but they would be different genre. It would be written on the paper sack. And she'd be like, "I have I think she just did it because I came in, but I can't prove that. I can't prove that, but because I used to be obsessed. I'm like, yes. And it would be 10 books for I don't know, $3.50, or I don't remember what she charged, but it was a good deal. And it was so much fun because you didn't know what you were getting, and I don't know. It was fun. But that is I like that.
They were doing that though during the pandemic. A lot of people were buying. There was a bookstore, where was it, Arizona, that was doing mystery boxes. And you would pay $20 and get this box of 20 books, but you had no idea what it was, either romance or mystery or whatever. People were buying those like crazy, I remember.
I still think about doing the blind dates and all that now.
Yes.
But I can't read physical books. So that's the only reason I don't, because
I know we need blind date with an ebook.
I think that's such a fun idea.
Mm-hmm.
I would be into that. You should do a pizza party theme for one of your reading sprint nights.
That would be fun.
So much fun. That's a good idea. That would be so much fun. I got screwed over by a classmate on the book it goal for that year. We got to dunk the principal. She showed up with a list the day, and I got bumped from getting to participate.
Oh, that sucks.
That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bummer. I'm sorry. I only have 2. I have been reading them through my library. These new ones I have, or now that I've been rereading them, now I've been reading them through.
I'm really happy that they've republished them digitally and that they're available through the libraries. I think that's great.
Me too. Yeah, I didn't know that, Amy. Yeah, it's really neat. So moving to number 4, because it's 8:30. I feel we'll wrap up right around 9 or so.
Yep.
Marianne saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, Marianne saves the day because one of the little girl that she's babysitting for, who is a handful usually.
She's an angel.
Her parents literally call her that, like
their angel. Yeah,
she's my angel. She's very lethargic, and it turns out because she's running a 104.
Something very high. Yeah.
Something like your brain's cooking high,
Right.
So she remains very calm. She tries to she follows what you would want a babysitter to do,
Absolutely,
especially for a young girl. She takes all the steps, and she does a great job. She really does. And so that's kind of where the title comes from, Marianne Saves the Day. One of the questions I thought was the most unique out of this section is, so the question is, did you think that Marianne would have been able to step up like that before this book happened? And honestly, thinking about that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I would have thought she was the character to do that because of her naivety and her innocence and kind of that sort of thing. But I do think that they picked the best character to have in that situation because it gave her more confidence to kind of grow out of her shell a little bit, which we see in the next book.
I think if the situation had happened, for example, in book 1, no. But I think throughout the course of the books of her, babysitting more and becoming more friendly, it was only ever her and Kristy, right? She only ever had Kristy as a friend. Now, all of a sudden, she had some new friends. They might not have lunch together and all the things, but she was still coming out of her shell just a little bit more with Claudia and Stacy and all the things. And then the fight happens, and she realized she can only rely on herself. I think that, yeah, you're right. They picked the perfect character and the perfect time to do it, to do that book. Yeah.
Because she is the, most shy and introverted and kind of seen as the most immature. So I think it allowed her to kind of have some confidence in herself and feel like she could handle more. And, this is also the book that, where they have the big fight. This is also where we get introduced to Dawn, who has moved here from California because her parents have just gotten divorced, and her mom and her brother, Jeff, move here. And, she sees Marianne sitting by herself because there's the big fight.
Yep.
And so she asked to join her at lunch. And that's how Marianne and her originally become friends.
Yep.
And had the fight not been going on, I don't think that would have happened either, because she would have been with Kristy. And as we see in some of book 4, but especially book 5, Kristy is very jealous of Marianne and Dawn because it's always been Kristy and Marianne.
That's right.
And she felt like she was Marianne's only friend, and the friends that she did have, like those twins that they mentioned, I don't remember their names.
Yeah, whatever. Start with an S.
They sound exactly alike. It's two very close names,
Mariah and Miranda, or something like that.
It's something with M's, yes, and they're very close, name wise. But Kristy definitely feels like they're more her friends, and they just
it said in the book that they were Kristy's friends originally, and then Marianne just happened to be there. Yeah,
right. But so you start seeing Marianne come out of her shell definitely in this one.
And I think the saves the day also can refer to the fight itself, because Marianne's kind of the one that says, "Listen, guys, this has gone on enough." When they almost ruined Jamie's birthday party. And she's like, we need to do something about this. And she's the one to step up and say, this needs to stop. Right? So I think it kind of refers to both things, in my opinion. I
totally agree. She, at the very end of the book, not only does she say that this has to stop, but she calls an emergency meeting. She's, she's the one that steps up to do that.
Yep.
And says.
And she wouldn't have had the confidence unless that incident had happened with Jenny.
Yeah. And she said, this is either going to make us or break us. And I don't want the club to break up, and so we got to figure out how to move past it and, all of those things. And I think you're totally right. It could refer to both of those. And I think it meant to be honest.
Exactly. It was meant to be that way. Yeah.
So also, something really fun happens in Marianne Saves the Day.
Yes.
So Marianne, so we mentioned that Dawn has moved to Stoneybrook because her parents divorced, and she's here with her mom. And the girls discover that their parents were in high school together. But not only that, Marianne's dad, Richard, and Dawn's mom dated very seriously. And so they
They were high
arranged for
school
them.
sweethearts.
Yes. And they arranged for them to see each other. And when they do, they're instantly kind of like reconnected and into each other, sort of thing. And I think that's where we start to see Richard change a little bit with Marianne, because this is when she starts like being able to, take down her hair, and like they're like, she's worn jeans first time ever.
Jeans and a sweatshirt or something like that. Yeah.
And then they start, planning on redecorating her room and all that stuff. But like he really,
starts to let her grow up a little bit.
Yeah. But did you like the storyline of the parents?
Oh yeah, I did. I thought it was really cute. Very, I don't want to say Parent Trap-ish, but I thought it was really cute. And I mean, of course, as we know, as the series goes on, there's going to be another wedding, and although when you think about it, when you stop and think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, it took so long for them to get together, and you realize, no, it was probably in reality like a couple months, because like the series ran for 100 books, but it really only took place over the course of a year. Time stops in the world of Babysitter's Club.
Right? It really does. It really does.
Time means nothing.
I read all of them, and I'm thinking about reading them again. Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yes, that is accurate. C is 12 years old and loves to cook, but soon C will be a teen. I am not okay. Oh, that's so hard. I'm sorry.
I'm not. Jess, my niece turns 16 tomorrow, and I understand. I can't. I'm like, she's not 16. I'm sorry. Someone's lying. It's not a thing. It can't be a thing.
Well, I'm 46 and be 47, and my nephew is 6 years younger than me, because my sister is many, 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 many years older than me.
Yep.
So my nephew in April turns 40.
That's hard.
Now, granted, we're closer in age than my sister and I. Gunnar and I are closer in age than.
That's funny.
But I mean, like, still, I was like, nothing makes you feel more old than your nephew turning 40.
Right? Right?
Oh, it breaks my heart. It was worse than when I turned 40.
I'm like, I had to look at it. I'm like, wait, how old am I turning next week? I'm like, oh yeah, 47. I don't want to think about it.
Like, that is amazing that she is that good of a cook. I all the elaborate stuff she does, that's amazing.
Right?
Ambi, when you were in 7th grade, I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she was 1999. Yeah.
Jesus.
Right? Yes, I think we did that too. You aren't too much older than me. And she said, yep. Did y'all have AR points? We would read a book and take a test and get your AR points for I don't remember what. No. Accelerated reading, but they just didn't start doing that until after me. We didn't do them when I was.
Yeah, it's a US thing. It's not something that we have here.
She said true. And she said Marianne did a great job in before. Yeah.
Agreed.
She said she didn't remember having that either. Marilyn and Carolyn Arnold.
Those were the twins that they babysit for. These were the Schallenbar twins.
that they had lunch with. They always talk
Yeah, they
about.
sat at the round
It's
table together. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
two very close inward. It is Miranda, but I
It's
can't think
Miranda
of
and something. It's not Marilyn, or because
maybe
but
Mariah. It's very close. I know Miranda for sure,
mhm.
and something very close to that. I loved it. I think I'm going to read them again. Not sure when. No, I didn't have it either. No, we didn't have
No.
AR when I was in school. Hey, Brian. You're never late, Brian. You are never late. We're getting ready to discuss the final book, Dawn and the Impossible Three, Sarah's favorite character. Mariah and Miranda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When people who have twins do that, it's just so hard, like
right,
to make their names that close.
Yep.
I had twin Amish in my class named Lenora May and Ladora Faye.
Oh my goodness.
And they were identical, and you couldn't tell them apart, except that Lindora Faye was really mean. So I'm not kidding. This one we were very young, like first, second, third grade. I'm not kidding. Like, she was so mean, and we couldn't tell them apart at all. And so when one of them would like come up and pinch you, we would all do telephone. We're like, psst, Lindora Faye's wearing the green dress today. And like along like a game of telephone, so you knew who to stay away from. Yeah. We had AR in school. Yeah. But you guys are both younger than us.
Right.
Too. So, I think we got a pizza party if we got the most AR points in our class.
That's cool. Great way to encourage kids.
Yeah. So Dawn and the Impossible Three, the Barrett family.
Yes.
Buddy, and I don't remember the other two kids.
Buddy, Susie, and Marnie.
That's right. Thank you. Marnie is a baby. She just makes a ham face. I don't know how many times they can say she made a ham face. Ham face. Yep. I'm like, is there no other description? Ham face.
Right.
I can't even tell you. I can look up in the Kindle how many times she said it. I'm like, oh, goodness sakes. And then Susie's the middle, and then we have Buddy. And more for them than them being a handful is their parents are going through a divorce, and mom is just struggling. She's just struggling to manage it all, and she wasn't working when she got a divorce. Now she's got to find a job, but that requires like going out and interviewing, and so the house is kind of in disarray. Like, mom's struggling. She's a newly single parent, and there's a lot of animosity between her and Dad.
It's not an amicable divorce.
In the big incident of Dawn and the Impossible Three.
Yes,
which we won't. Again, we don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But yeah, what did you? There's a point where she tells the mom of the Barrett family, like, I'm not babysitting for you anymore, because she was almost at their house like every day at one point.
She was basically like, Buddy was calling Dawn with questions or showing up at her
over there too, didn't he? Like, he went over and knocked on her door and like showed her a paper or something like that.
Yeah, that he got whatever. And I really, during the reading of that book, got mad at Mrs. Barrett. Like, I understand that you're struggling, but your house is legitimately a disgusting mess, but you are always completely put together. So clearly you have some time to be doing something. You know what I mean? So, not that she's neglecting the kids, because that's not the case. She's trying to get herself together. But, you can't forget about your kids or have a 13-year-old raising them, basically.
And the two things that bothered me about Mrs. Barrett, because again, without trying to judge someone who's newly a single parent, that like there was a point where Dawn really encourages Buddy to ask your mom, for
talk to your mom. Yeah.
And he starts like just crying, and she's like, "What?" He's like, "I just know she won't. She won't." And I was like, "Oh, that's heartbreaking." That made me like really annoyed with the mom, like for the kid to already like be like, it's a failure to even have to, like, oh, that's heartbreaking. And then the other part was she wanted Dawn to come back so much because the first time Dawn shows up, she cannot fathom the situation with the house.
The mess.
She's like, and so she creates this game that the kids like pick up, basically.
Mhm.
She's like, I'm going to time you. And if we, you know, so she makes it a game just like you do with kids to get them to do things you want. But I felt like the mom actually, that's why she kept having her back, was to like these to basically take advantage.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. The other thing that got me when I was reading the book and I had to sit down was they list Mrs. Barrett at being 34 years old. Yeah. And I went, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I need to sit down for a second now.
I'm trying to think of, well, I'm not going to, there's a couple questions I feel like are spoilers. And I mean, these books are so old, but I still don't want to do that to someone who may plan on reading them.
Because there might be somebody here who might be like, I would like to read them for the first time.
Oh, I think this is interesting. How does Dawn approach problems different than the other club members?
I think with Dawn, one of the things I also liked about her was that she was also a bit more of a free spirit, which I know could get on some people's nerves. And I understand that. Like, she definitely had, and she wanted you to know her opinion. But I also feel like she also had a little bit more freedom. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't, you know, that whole, but to me, I always laugh when they talk about California in those books. Like, California is only Southern California. There's no northern, like, it's always sunny and beachy. Like, that is the California in the world of the Babysitters Club.
Oh, for sure.
Like, she was definitely more of a free spirit. You know, she felt more flower child to me.
Oh, yeah,
and
she
definitely, like, the way she approached problems was completely different than the rest of the Babysitters Club. Like, she thought differently than the rest of the girls. I can't describe exactly how, but she did definitely think differently because of the way she was raised.
And I think for me, I agree 100%. She's definitely the free spirited of the group with the tofu and the healthy food and all that, you know, kind of stuff at that, you know, sort of thing. And, you know, she's written as what we would consider, even like, to use a term that people use all the time. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but like woke.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Like, even then, you know, like with like Buddy, the older boy, has a gun, and she says to him, like, straight on, like, hey,
I don't like guns.
Guns aren't toys. They are used to hurt people, and you won't use them around me. Like, she was woke even for that, you know, for our time.
For 1986, yes.
Right. And so I'm just using the word, I'm not putting a label whether it's good. I'm
no,
just
absolutely
saying.
not. No.
But she, it's interesting because I think also the way that she was different is she was more mature than the other girls. So I feel like she was. And it's interesting because they're always talking about how sophisticated Stacy is, but that's from the perspective of the other kids her age. But I really feel like the most mature was Dawn. And maybe it was that, like, you know, her parents were divorced. I don't know, you know, what it was. She had to help with her brother because her parents were divorced. I don't know, but she felt like more knowledgeable of the world around her.
Yes.
Than the other girls.
Yes, I agree.
I'm 38 and will be 39 on March 4th.
Next week. Happy early birthday.
Yes. Happy early birthday. And then Sarah's is March 5th, right?
Yep, mine's the day after.
A week
today.
What's that?
A week today.
Oh. Yes, I totally understand what you mean about her being 34, right?
It's like, ouch.
I loved Dawn. Yeah. I you know, a lot of people, like, when my friends also would read them too, and that was part of the fun of reading them too, was like, we would all, like, oh my gosh, we would talk about them, you know what I mean? And
I never had that.
Oh yeah.
I was the only reader in my group of friends.
Oh yeah, no, we would. And I, like, a lot of the girls only read those. I was a big just reader, but a lot of the girls only read the Babysitters Club. But, like, I feel like what the Babysitters Club did was bring people who weren't into readings, kind of like the Twilight and the, you know, things that brought people back to reading that maybe weren't. I feel like the Babysitters Club did that for a lot of people, because my friends, a lot of my friends that did, they wouldn't have picked up another book to save their soul, but they love the Babysitters Club, and we used to talk about them nonstop. And a lot of people don't like Dawn.
I think I think because of how opinionated she was, and she let you know what her opinion was. You know, I think that she tended to be a little in your face.
It's that's interesting, because I feel like Kristy's the same way, but to me, she's more in your face and aggressive than Dawn is. I feel like Dawn's just more maybe vocal, but I don't think she's near as aggressive in the way she does it.
Which is interesting
to go like Kristy is.
To go to this book, because in this book it's discussed how the fact that Kristy really doesn't like Dawn very much in book 5. Like, she's still trying to get used to her because, again, as we said before, she was always Marianne's only friend. Whereas this one, you know, they kind of come to an understanding. But I feel like Kristy and Dawn have a lot more in common than, you know, at first they realize, you know?
Oh, for sure.
And there's a reason that Marianne is friends with both of them, because they're very similar to each other.
Yeah, no, I think they are. Yes. Yes, I agree. The most mature was Dawn, like Tiffany said. Yeah. In the new Babysitter Club remake, Dawn didn't have a brother. Oh.
I thought they did, but he stayed in California. There was a lot of things about the new series I didn't like.
I didn't even realize they did that. I don't know why I didn't. Why doesn't she have a brother in the new series? I'm only familiar with the original series and the movie.
Again, I can't remember, because I only ever watched each episode once, but it may have been a situation where Dawn moved from California, and instead of doing the whole thing where spoiler alert, Jeff ends up going back to California. They just left him in California, like, not left him by himself, but he stayed with Dad.
He stayed with Dad,
yeah. Because the father in the new Netflix series is gay. Dawn's dad is gay. Yeah, they made him.
I did know that
because of the divorce.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did know that, but I just didn't remember how Jeff. Maybe I did at the time, but
again, I think it was glossed over with Jeff. Like, it wasn't a big deal, because for the majority of the series, Jeff does not live with Dawn and his mom.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, Ambi, I think I missed it just in general. Like, I might have, when I was first watching it, been like, oh, you know, I guess Jeff didn't come in, but he wasn't really that big of a character, even in the book series, because as she mentions, he's not there for very long. And so he doesn't play a big part like David Michael, who you see, and, you know.
But I mean, even really, if I'm trying to remember, you really don't see much of Charlie and Sam either, only just bit parts, you know, like it's where they're needed and where they, because again, like I feel like they were trying to get a new audience, and those who never read the books wouldn't have known about Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, I am pulling up. I can't type, y'all. Autocrept is the bane of my existence.
Right?
So yes. All right. So I was pulling up to see the dates. So next month will be on Sarah's channel.
Yes, ma'am. And it will be on the 26th.
So exactly 1 month.
Yeah.
Like 7. And it will be the next 5 books. So
Kristy's Big Day. I can tell you off the top of my head.
Yep.
Kristy's Big Day, Claudia and Mean Janine, Boy Crazy Stacy, The Ghost at Dawn's House, and Logan Likes Marianne.
This is one of my favorite groups of the books.
Same.
A couple of those are some of my favorites. So I love this pairing.
The first 5 books will always be nostalgic because they're the first 5. But I really think the series comes into its own in this group of books. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the girls really start their friendship with each other in these books. Like, they're no longer two separate groups. They're now going to be a group. And yeah, the series really goes off from here, in my opinion.
I'm really excited because this lump of books has some really good ones in it. So that will be March 26th at 6. Me and my mom have been sick. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Ambi. It seems to be going around.
Absolutely, unfortunately.
Well, guys, we are so happy that everybody joined us.
Thank you for joining.
First Babysitters Club. Well, totally talking 80s. We wanted to keep the name simplified like that because we could move into other stuff. So I don't necessarily know how to do a poll. I don't know why I said necessarily twice. I didn't mean to.
I can figure it out if you need a poll done.
Well, I was just thinking, like, do we want to do like 1 month out of the like
every third month?
Exactly. Like out of the quarter, 1 month out of the quarter. And instead of having a Babysitters Club, we pick another series and we just to break it up. Or we can do it. Idea. We can do it that way, or we could do the third quarter. We read 4 Babysitters Club instead of reading a 5th one. We read, a book from another.
Oh, I like that idea too.
That way we're still getting through.
That way we don't fall too behind on the Babysitters Club books.
Because otherwise, as it is, we'll be reading this series for a while. So maybe we're
going to be on YouTube for another decade just to go through all these.
Which is fine with me because I love this series. But so let us know what do you think of that idea, or do you just want to wait and just do the Babysitters Club until you get to? I just feel like that would be a way to break it up a little bit if we're like, oh my gosh, I can't take any more. You know what I mean?
I wish we could have thought of it ahead because we could have said like, let's read a Nancy Drew book or a Nancy Drew Hardy Boys book in March for March Mystery Madness.
Yeah.
Do 4 and do that, but I don't want to put too much pressure on too many people.
Do you like that idea, or do you? What do you think?
Let us know.
I love these books. If there's a way to do a post poll, or
do you want it done on YouTube? Because I can do a poll on YouTube, no problem.
We could do that. We could just do it on YouTube.
I'll say I'll put it up that in April. Would you like us to read a bonus book? Like not a bonus book, but do 4 Babysitters Club books and something else.
Yeah.
And then if we get a majority yes, then we'll vote on what book.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I hope you do feel better, Ambi. Absolutely. And your mom. I'm sorry. Good.
Thank you, Storm. We appreciate you joining.
Thank you, Storm. She said, "Give me all the nostalgia." Yay!
Right.
Sarah, thank you so much for doing this with me, and I'm so excited, and we look forward to you guys books 6 through 10 next month, March 26th. Thank you all. Have a great night. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Tiffany. See you later,
everybody.